I always felt like I could do anything. That's the main thing people are controlled by. Thoughts, their perception of themselves. They're slowed down by their perception of themselves. If you're taught you can't do anything, you won't do anything. I was taught I could do everything.
Kanye West just flipped the entire narrative and did it fast. New album, sold-out stadium, massive attention back on him. Just like that, he's no longer the outsider. He's right back at the center of everything. But this comeback didn't just happen. If you look closely at the visuals, the rollout, the staging, you start to notice something deeper. The symbols, the presentation, the way everything was designed, it feels calculated, intentional, like this return came with conditions. That's where the real question comes in. Not just how he got back, but what changed to make it possible. Is Kanye West still operating on his own terms, or has he stepped into something bigger, something more controlled? That's what we're breaking down today, because this version of Kanye feels different.
If you haven't subscribed yet, fix that right now. This is IconicTrey, and things are about to get crazy.
Just a year ago, everything looked finished. Major brands cut ties, partnerships collapsed, platforms distanced themselves, and he was pushed out of the mainstream industry almost completely. It wasn't just a setback, it looked like a full shutdown, the kind of situation most artists don't come back from. Then everything shifted. Quietly at first, a new alignment forms with Gamma, a growing force in distribution and media. After that move, the tone changes. Public messaging softens, appearances become more strategic, and a clear effort to reshape perception starts rolling out. That's when the comeback really begins. Step by step, piece by piece, the narrative flips, and suddenly he's not on the outside anymore. This move looks like the turning point that reopened every door that was shut. The results speak for themselves. A new album drops, instant impact, massive streaming numbers, full attention back on him. Then comes the moment that really seals it, a sold-out show at SoFi Stadium. That performance wasn't just another concert, it marked Kanye West's full return to the top level of the industry.
A year ago, that didn't even seem possible. After everything that happened, after all the controversy and fallout, the idea of him standing on that stage again felt completely out of reach.
Yet here he is, right back in position. That's what makes this shift so questionable, because when someone spends years pushing against the system, calling it out, challenging it publicly, and then suddenly gets welcomed back, that raises a serious question. What changed? That's where the visuals start to matter. Look closely at the imagery, the presentation, the tone. It's not random. There's a clear shift in how everything is being communicated, because his entire identity used to center around one idea: uncontrolled, unfiltered, untouchable. Now the question is whether that identity is still real, or if something behind the scenes has reshaped it completely.
Control them. You get what I'm saying? They control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce. But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name.
He built his entire image on resistance, speaking out against the system, calling it corrupt, positioning himself as someone who wouldn't fold under pressure.
That was the identity. Standing alone, pushing back, refusing to align. Now, look at the shift. Kanye West is back in the spotlight with support from the same structures he once challenged. Major platforms, major backing, full visibility again. That contrast is impossible to ignore, because when someone moves from opposition to reintegration, it raises a different kind of question. Not whether the conflict ended, but how it ended. That's where the interpretation starts to change. Instead of an outsider fighting the system, this version looks more integrated into it. The messaging feels different, the presentation feels different, the role itself feels different. Now the focus shifts to the visuals. His latest music video becomes the key.
On the surface, it might look abstract, just a series of strange, disconnected images. Look closer, and it starts to feel structured.
Every frame, every setting, every symbol placed with intention. The entire video unfolds inside a cold, empty church. That setting matters. Traditionally, a church represents stability, belief, and continuity. Here, it feels stripped down, hollow, almost abandoned. That shift in atmosphere suggests something deeper. Not preservation, but transformation.
the old structure being cleared out to make space for something new. Right at the start, the imagery gets heavy. A nun being arrested while a knight in armor just stands there watching. At first glance, it looks like a dramatic scene, but when you break it down symbolically, it starts telling a completely different story. The nun represents traditional belief, structure, faith, the old system people trusted. Now look at what happens to her. She's removed, taken out, pushed aside. That's the shift being shown. The idea that the old framework is no longer in control. Then there's the knight, armor, power, force, standing there like a silent enforcer. That presence changes the tone. It suggests this transition isn't natural, it's being enforced, a clearing out of the old to make space for something new. Now the video takes it even further. One of the most talked about moments hits. Astronauts step in and remove Kanye West's mask. What's underneath isn't human, it's something else entirely. That moment flips everything because now the message shifts from identity to transformation. The idea being presented is that the version people see publicly isn't the real one. It's a layer, a role, something worn for the audience. Underneath that, something different, something elevated, something disconnected from normal reality. Here's the detail that makes it even more intense. He doesn't remove the mask himself. It's done for him by figures representing control, structure, and access to power. Then they take him away.
That sequence matters because it suggests the transformation isn't self-directed, it's managed, guided by something operating behind the scenes.
That's what turns this from just a visual into a statement, not just about identity, but about controlled, influence, and what it takes to exist at that level. The unmasking scene carries even more weight when you look at who's actually doing it. Kanye West isn't revealing anything himself. The moment is controlled, timed, and executed by others. That detail flips the entire meaning. It suggests he's not even in control of when his true form is shown or when he's removed from the spotlight. Then the scene shifts again. As he's dragged out, Travis Scott steps in. New presence, new focus, new energy. The transition is immediate, no pause, no gap, just replacement. His scene centers around a ritual-like union, something symbolic rather than literal. That moment isn't random, it signals progression, following the same path, stepping into the same system, continuing the same cycle. Then comes the final image, a man carrying a massive wooden cross sitting in the exact same position Kanye once held. That's the message right there. The position doesn't disappear, it gets filled. That's how the system operates in this interpretation. One figure rises, carries the weight, reaches the peak, then gets replaced. Cycle repeats. The video even adds another layer. A figure resembling Michael Jackson appears in the background. That detail hits hard because he represents a previous era, another global figure who carried massive influence and pressure. Placed into this scene, it feels like a reminder. The cycle didn't start here and it doesn't end here. Different faces, same structure, same pattern repeating over time. This is where the interpretation shifts completely. The video stops looking like a story and starts feeling like a ritual, a symbolic transformation, something designed to represent change rather than just entertain. In that lens, every detail carries weight. The setting alone says a lot. A stripped-down church, cold, minimal, almost empty. That environment isn't peaceful, it feels like a place of transition. In symbolic terms, it represents destruction before creation, the breaking down of one identity to form something new. The first major moment, the removal of the nun, sets that tone immediately. Tradition gets pushed out, structure gets dismantled. Standing over it all, the armored figure represents force and intention, not a passive change, but something deliberate. Now the transformation reaches its peak. The unmasking of Kanye West becomes the central moment. What's revealed isn't human, it's something presented as elevated, detached, almost otherworldly. That image shifts the entire narrative. It suggests a move beyond identity into something symbolic, not a person, but a role. Then comes the detail that locks it in. The figures who remove the mask don't just reveal, they take him away. That action changes everything. It turns the moment from discovery into extraction, from transformation into transition. The meaning becomes clear in this interpretation.
Black people can't be anti-Semitic. We are Jew. You understand what I'm saying? We are Jew. So cool out. Until you do your facts, until you really do the facts with the fake indoctrination that y'all pull into the schools and all that, you know what I'm saying? We're not following y'all rules.
I mean, just like calling death con on Jews and that sort, like, do you take back any of that sort of more extreme stuff?
You know what? For all the kids that love me, all the Jewish kids that love me, I'm sorry if y'all had to hear a grown-up conversation with us screaming at each other. But we got to a point where something needed to happen. Something needed to be said. Somebody needed to say something. Now, if you're in an argument with somebody, you're not gonna say everything the right way. But it got to a point where y'all ain't gonna just keep running, start calling me bizarre and impressed for all these years. I got to a point, how many more times y'all gonna call me crazy? How many more times y'all gonna give me fake medication that makes me fat off of a misdiagnosis when I really have slight signs of autism from the car accident? But then y'all gave me, you say, whatever, just give them that bipolar medication. Y'all try to kill the superhero.
This isn't just about evolution. It's about control over that evolution. The process is guided, managed, and directed by forces operating outside the individual. That's what gives the scene its weight. It's not just a change, it's a transfer. While Kanye West is being removed from the scene, the focus shifts, and that shift is immediate. Travis Scott steps into the spotlight, but not in a normal way. The imagery around him feels ceremonial, structured, symbolic, almost ritualistic. Positioned between two brides, the scene suggests balance, two sides merging into one. That detail matters, because in this interpretation, he represents stability. Where Kanye's moment reflects transformation and disruption, Travis represents alignment, a new phase locking into place. The contrast between the two is intentional. One exits, another stabilizes. Then the final image lands and it hits hard. A figure carrying a massive wooden cross takes the exact position Kanye once held. That moment delivers the message clearly. The role doesn't disappear, it gets passed on. That's the structure being suggested, a continuous cycle where one figure carries the weight, then gets replaced by the next. The identity changes, but the position stays. That idea pushes the meaning even further. It's no longer about the individual artist. It becomes about the role they fill, a vessel, a symbol, something larger than the person themselves. The system keeps moving no matter who's in the seat. That's the final takeaway. Not a rise or fall, but a rotation. To the average fan, it looked like a high-energy show with a few glitches. Loud crowd, big visuals, nothing out of the ordinary. But through a different lens, the entire event takes on a completely different meaning. Kanye West wasn't just performing, he was controlling attention on a massive scale. That's what stands out. The setting matters. SoFi Stadium isn't just a venue, it's one of the most advanced performance environments in the world. Turn that into a stage with 70,000 people locked in on one focal point and the atmosphere changes instantly. That level of attention creates intensity, focus, energy, anticipation, all directed toward a single figure. That's what gives the moment weight. The visual design reinforces it. Everything is stripped down. Thick gray fog, minimal lighting, industrial tones, no distractions, just a controlled environment. That choice feels intentional. It creates a sense of emptiness, like everything has been reset, a blank space where something new can take form. Now look at how he presents himself. No clear identity, no traditional presence, no strong personal expression. That absence becomes the message, not an individual, more like a symbol, a figure shaped by the moment rather than defined by personality. Then the performance itself starts breaking expectations. Songs stop, restart, shift unexpectedly. At first, it feels like mistakes. Look closer and it feels controlled. Those interruptions keep the audience alert. No settling in, no predicting what comes next. Every pause forces attention back to the stage. That's the effect. Instead of passively watching, the crowd stays locked in. Every moment feels directed. That's what separates this from a normal performance. It's not just music, it's structure, timing, and control working together to shape the entire experience. Control becomes the theme of the entire night. Every pause, every reset, every shift, it all reinforces one idea. Who's directing the experience? That's where the performance takes another turn.
That was 4 Jewish members that controlled my voice, because for the fact that 90% of Black people in entertainment, from sports to music to acting, are in some way tied into Jewish business people, meaning that in some way, just like if Ram is sitting next to Obama or Jared sitting next to Trump, there's a Jewish person right there controlling the country, the Jewish people controlling that who gets the best video or not, controlling what the media says about
it's
me.
A person, not Jewish. Let me just say one thing.
But they are, though. That's the only thing. It just so happens that they are. It just so happens that they are. That doesn't mean that I hate them.
Yes,
that just means that they are.
But it's a dog whistle.
The appearance of North West alongside Travis Scott adds a new layer. Not just a cameo, not just a moment for the crowd. It feels symbolic. Placed in that environment, it suggests continuity, a passing forward, a signal that what's being built doesn't stop with one person. That's the message underneath it. This isn't about one era, it's about something ongoing, a cycle that keeps moving with new figures stepping in as time goes on. Then the energy of the performance shifts again. The visuals turn intense, red lighting floods the stage, heavy atmosphere, darker tones taking over. That change isn't subtle, it transforms the mood completely. What started as a comeback begins to feel like a reintroduction under a different identity. That's where the interpretation sharpens. Kanye West doesn't return as the same figure people remember. The presentation feels more controlled, more structured, more aligned with something larger than just music. That's the contrast driving the whole discussion, from independence to integration, from voice to role. The focus shifts away from individuality and toward influence at scale. That's the bigger idea being suggested, a move from artist to something that shapes perception itself. Now the question becomes unavoidable. Is he still leading the vision, or has the vision started leading him? So now the question hits harder than ever. Has Kanye West actually reclaimed control, or stepped into something much bigger than himself? The visuals, the rollout, the symbolism, it's all there for people to interpret. The shift feels complete, from outsider to centerpiece, from resistance to alignment. That's what makes this moment so controversial, because it doesn't look like a simple comeback, it looks like a transformation. The role has changed, the position has changed, even the message feels different. And once you see that shift, it's hard to unsee it. Another layer makes it even more intense. His daughter, North West, is now stepping into that same spotlight. That move raises its own set of questions. After everything that's been said about the industry, bringing the next generation into it feels like a full circle moment. That contrast stands out. The same system that was once challenged, now becoming part of the legacy. That's where the conversation gets deeper. Because at this level, it's no longer just about music, it's about influence, structure, and long-term positioning. Now it's your turn to decide. Is this a return to power or a new way of playing the same game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.